Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wyoming Knits YouTube channel. My name is Jenny Lee, and this is my channel where I like to talk about all things that I have been knitting on over the past week. Today is Sunday, October 5th, 2025, and this is episode 109. You can find me on Instagram as Jenny Lee Knits, and you can find me on Ravelry as Jenny Lee S Knits. And today I'm coming to you from an overcast southwest Wyoming, where I live with my husband, our daughter, and our little Yorkie Dax. Right now it is currently 52 degrees outside. Our high is supposed to be 54 today, so it's going to be a little bit chilly. It's been chilly and windy and kind of rainy. It'll sprinkle here and there, but not a lot of rain lately. So let's talk about our Scrappy Make-a-long that I'm hosting for this whole year. The end of September was the end of quarter 3, and I went through Ravelry and I pulled, I checked all the things that started in with a July date, and I went all the way to the end of September, and let me tell you what those were. So in our accessories we had post 119 to post 171, and I used a random number generator and it chose post number 130. Knit, read, play, this is what was entered. Then we have, so you will get this beautiful Yarn Cafe creation, one of a kind, 4-ply fingering, 85-15, 437 yards per 100 grams, beautiful blue. I tried to pull some fall colors this time. So accessories, and then we had blankets. We had post number 7 through post number 15, and the random number generator chose post number 14, and that was BORKP. This is what post it was, and you're going to get this beautiful green Yarn Cafe Creations. This one is Goblin. It is her Bonbon 2-ply fingering, 393 yards per 100 grams, 85% merino, 15% nylon. And our last one was sweaters and cardigans. There was post number 13 to post number 21, and number 18, Tina's Workshop. This is what you posted, and this one is another Yarn Cafe creation in the color Manicure. It is her two-ply fingering. So if you will contact me either on Ravelry or use the email address provided in the link below, and get me your address, I will send those out to you probably sometime this week. Thank you everyone for participating. We still have one more quarter to go. I will pull quarter 4 prizes, and then I will pull a prize from each one for the whole year. So I'll go back to post number 1 through post whatever and pull a random number, and that will be our grand prize winner for each one. So congratulations to everyone who has participated. I love to see all of the finished objects. If you haven't gone over and looked at those, head over to Ravelry and look at all those. I will have the link to the what is it called? The discussion board, the whatever the Ravelry post thing is for our make-along anything scrappy goes, and I did 3 categories so we could have different winners for each one. So with that being taken care of, let's talk about what I knit on over the past week. We'll talk about my talk about my finished objects, my works in progress, and the mail that I had received. Our first thing is finished objects. So I finished my daily pullover. I will move the camera so you can see it a little better. So I have the V-neck. It is a little bit longer than my other one. Maybe I did make the other one 10 inches instead of 8. The top of my pants is right here. My belly button is right here. The V-neck does not go down super low, which I like. It's got this fun detail where this stitch just keeps going up. It is sparkly. I used my Sinful yarn in the color Warlock on her fingering weight, 92% superwash merino, 8% polyester, and Angelina sparkle. There was 437 yards per 100 grams, and this sweater weighed 265 grams. So I had an extra one. I got 4 skeins because I wasn't sure which sweater I was going to make. I used, I think this was a size 4 for the body, size 3 for the ribbing. It is a 1x1 rib. I did a tubular bind off on all of my bind offs, on the collar, around the cuffs, and the hem. You start out with the back with a provisional cast on, and you do the back and the sleeves and like 1 stitch of the front, and you knit back and forth doing your increases for the V-neck. Then you put you separate for your sleeves, then you finish your increases for your V-neck, then join it in the round, and then finish off the body, come back and pick up your sleeves, and at the end you put on the 1x1 collar. So this is the second one I've made. I'm sure I will make some more in the future. It is lightweight. It is a fingering weight sweater, so it does take a little bit longer than a DK weight, but I think it is just right for the fall, and I love the sparkle. And that's everything I finished this time. So let's talk about what I worked on, my works in progress. You've seen this bag quite a bit. I worked on this all week long, and Thursday, I think, I finished the first one. Let me grab a sock blocker. So I finished the first one, and as I was Kitchenering the toe, well, I was doing the toe, and I got interrupted. I had to put it down, and I picked it back up, and I got to where I was going to Kitchener the toe, and I started the Kitchener stitch. It was right here last time. I just had a couple more. Let's see. I think I only had one more row to go before I started the toe. I put this here to tell me, like, in the pattern where I started the toe. That was my last regular round, and then the next one I started the toe. And I got to almost the end of Kitchenering, and I had 4 stitches on one needle and 2 stitches on the other needle. And I was like, that is not right. What did I do? It was 8:30 at night and my bedtime is 9 o'clock. So then I was like, what did I do? So I tried to undo the Kitchener and put the stitches back on my needle, and I got back down to the end, and I thought I had all my stitches picked back up back on the needle, but now I have a hole in my sock. So I'm going to have to take out the Kitchener stitch because this is where I started. Uh-oh. Okay, my battery died, but I have extra batteries. So we were talking about the Kitchener stitch. This is where I started, and there is a hole where I started. I don't know how I did that. I must not have got all my stitches back on, or I did something. So I'm gonna have to take this out, but I wanted to show you before I took it out. And I think just thinking about it gives me more anxiety than just taking it out and starting again. I'm gonna have to rip back a little bit and get all the stitches back on the needle. I do use a 32 inch ChowGoo size 1 when I do the toe, but I did start the second sock. I got the ribbing done and about 4 rows in the pattern. So I have that. I do all of my socks on 9-inch circular needles. This is a size 0. My stitches are a little bit looser on the 9-inch, and so when I do Kitchener the toe, I do, it does snug up a bit. My stitches are tighter when I use the magic loop method, and so I have to go up a needle size to do the toe. But this is, let me put it back on the blocker. This is the Minecraft Socks by Heather Cox. I love this cute little design. It is super easy to memorize if you can read your knit stitches and your purl stitches. After I did like 1 repeat, I was like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. And so it is a 12-row repeat. So I did not use light bulb stitch markers like I usually do. I usually put these every 10 rounds, but on this it's easy for me to count 1 repeat, 2 repeats, 3 repeats each. So this is 1 repeat at the bottom of this bubble. That is 1 repeat. So it was super easy for me to keep track that way. I don't think I'll need to put stitch markers to make these two the same. So I will continue to work on this and hopefully pull back this one and fix that little hole in there. I'm using, let me find the tag, Blackbird Sycamore yarn. She still has her advents on sale, so if you want to go over and check those out, I will be receiving one of those. I purchased one of those this summer because when I saw the inspiration photo, I thought the colors were amazing and I needed it. This orange color is the color Caution. So that is my sock. That's the only sock I have on the needles right now. I do want to add a couple more. Let's put that back in there. Then I worked on, well, this isn't the order that I worked on it, but we'll go with the next thing that you've seen. This is the mod sweater. This is a Della Q bag. I think the Yarn and the Tail has them on sale this month. I think they put all their project bags on sale this month. So I will definitely link that in the description box below. And this is the mod sweater. And I'm using Yarn Bee in the color Unicorn Horn and Knit Picks Aloft in the color Cosmopolitan. I'm holding these two together, and let's see where it's okay. This is what I have so far. Let's put it on the hanger like last time. So this is what I've got. I had 7 rows left. Well, I thought I had 7 rows left. The repeat went row 1 through 7, but it said repeat 4 through 7 one more time, and that's all I had left. So I had like 4 or 5 more rows left, and then I did this texture, and now I am on a moss stitch. I think it's this stitch on the bottom to finish up the length of the sweater before you put the ribbing on the bottom. I love the way this is turning out. There's the back. I did add in a new ball of the unicorn horn somewhere down in here. I don't know if you can really tell because of the texture change. So I am using a US size 6 4mm needle for that. In this slip stitch section, you use a size US 7, and then I think the ribbing you go down to a size 5. So just been working away. I did all of this yesterday because I didn't work on it all week because I was like, oh, I still have to do that lace, and last time I messed it up. I don't want to do lace right now. And then after I looked, I was like, oh, I have like 5 more rows to do. Let's just do that. So I did all of that yesterday. Maybe we'll just keep this up for now. And then throughout the week I worked on this one. This one is in a bag by Awesome Granny. And it's my Hippo for Christmas bag. And I have my Till Torch Knits Advents in here. I have the 2023 and the 2024 countdown. They were a 21-day countdown. Let's see, where's the beginning? Okay, this is the front. Wait a minute, this is the front. I was right here on this purpley pink section last time, and I finished all of that and started the next one. So I'm going 2023, 2024, 2023, 2024 and just going back and forth. I think this was day 21 and this was day 21, so day 20, day 20, and this is the one I'm working with right now. The black and purple and teal. I did put stitch markers in here. I have the pink stitch markers where I'm going to decrease and the lighter stitch markers where I'm going to increase. From here to here is one pattern repeat. From this stitch marker to the next pink stitch marker is one pattern repeat, but I needed to add these two in to remind myself that right here in the middle is when I need to increase to make these cute chevrons. It does have an I-cord edge. You cast on your I-cord and pick up stitches, and then you do an I-cord as you are working on this. Let's see, this is a size 5, and that is a 3.75 millimeter. So I think I'm going to love this when it's done. I have some of my yarn in here, some in a box, some not even caked up yet, so I figured I'd just work on that a little bit. I might get more work on it as the days grow colder and I want to work on advents. So that is in my Hippos for Christmas bag. Then that's everything you've seen before. I cast on 2 new projects and caked up yarn for 1 more. I finished this sweater, and so I was like, what do I have? I have 1 pullover, 1 cardigan on the needles. I did not work on my garden cardigan at all this week. It ended up on the bottom of my pile and I just didn't get to it. So Friday I came up here and I was looking at my yarn. We had Friday off. I was looking at all of the things and I said, I'm casting on something new. I want to cast on a lento. I want to cast on a Doppio, and I want to cast on that cute hat that Courtney of Pearls of Harmodice was making. And so what yarn do I have? So I went through my yarn and I found a skein of, well, 2 skeins, a fluff and a fingering weight from Goosey Fibers. I had 1 of each left over. I had from my love note that I made a couple years ago. I held fingering weight with some fluff and I thought it was mohair, and then when I went to cake up the 2 cakes on Friday, I pulled out the fluff and I started caking it up and I was like, I don't think that's mohair, I think that's Surrey. And sure enough, it is Surrey. It is 74% baby Surrey alpaca, 26% silk. This says heavy lace, light fingering, 328 yards per 50 grams. And I had one whole skein left over from both of these when I did my love note. And the color is Morla. This was from her Never Ending Story collection that she did probably about 5 years ago, maybe 4. And so I cast on the Rhuska hat. I'm using my cute little bag that I got from Happy Mermaid Yarn Co. I don't think it has a tag, but I ordered this off their Etsy shop, and it will be linked in the description box below, their Etsy shop. I don't know if they have this fabric anymore, but they might have bags that look similar to this one. So I started the Rhuska hat. It is a half fisherman's rib that you will eventually, this will be the brim, and this gets folded up inside, and you switch after it's time for the fold, and then you switch and you start going around the other way in half fisherman's rib until you get to so many inches. Pretty sure this is a free pattern on Ravelry. So I am just working, I'm doing the medium size. It is very, very stretchy, very squishy, and so I think this is going to be a nice warm hat for me this winter. I do want to make another muscle bra hat also. I got these cute little ghosts. I think these ones came in a Yarnable a couple of years ago. So I started that. I started this on a Friday, and that's how much work I got done on it on Friday. And then I started one more sweater. I put it in this other bag. This is a bag by Awesome Grannie. And I am using some Knit Picks Melissa's in the color Vintage Rose and Dusky Petal, D-U-S-K-Y, Dusky Petal. And I'm holding these two together with some yarn that someone had sent me. This is a Mohair Cake Wool Co. This is their cream base, 72% mohair, 28% silk, 459 yards per 100 grams, and this one is Russian dressing. So I'm holding all three of these together. I double checked my yardage, and two skeins of this one, 2 skeins of this one, and 2 skeins of this one are going to be plenty of yarn for a Doppio. And so I started knitting. I love how these colors are working together. I think this is going to be a pretty color for me. Not bright red, but like a wine berry kind of rose red. So I had never done really a whole project with left lifted increases and right lifted increases. And this has you cast on and go right into your short rows for the back as you do increases on the back, and then sometimes increases on the sleeves. And then once you're done with the short rows, then you do increases on the front. And it does not increase, like if you're doing your raglans, you're not increasing your front, your sleeves and your back at the same time. Some rows you're doing all 4, some rows you're just doing 2. So I got about that much done on, I think I also just worked on this on Friday. I don't think I worked on this at all on Saturday. I think I just worked on the mod sweater on Saturday. So I have this much done. This is on a size 10, US size 10, 6mm needle. And the Rhuska hat is also worked on a US size 10. And I caked up some yarn for a lento, but that also calls for a US size 10. And I was not sure I had enough needles for that. I do have the Chowgoo 5-inch tips, 4-inch tips, and the mini tips for the large set. So I do have the 5-inch tips, but I didn't really want to cast on with the 5-inch tips to do the lento in a small circumference. I think I've used both of my 16 and 20-inch cords. I think. I don't remember what size they come in, but they're the two smallest that are not the ones I use for sleeves. So I'm already using both of those. So once I get the hat finished, or I think I'm gonna have to finish the hat first. I think I can do that this week, and then I will cast on my lento. Let me grab the yarn. My Stitch Quest yarn that I got at the beginning of the year that I wanted to cast on and make a lento with, a lento or a California sweater. And I think I'm going to do the lento because I already did a California sweater this year, and I'm doing the Sheepy Shire. This one is Stitch Quest, and this one is what? Hydrangea. I think if I hold those together, that'll be pretty for a lento. I already have them. 2 of them caked up, ready to go. I betcha there is a cat outside. So let's talk about what I got in the mail. I only received one thing. I did get a notification, but I haven't gone to my mailbox, that I do have my Yarnable, so I will show that next week because it is still at the post office. But I did get my Yarn Prairie, and this one is Mr. Frodo. I am so excited. I ordered the October one. This one's September, so I ordered the October one, and I have my October and my November Mama Jess Knits yarn ordered. So that was the only thing I got this time in the mail. And so let's talk about my yarn stats, my stash stats. I have been trying to work through some of my yarn and keep track of what I am purchasing, how much yarn I am using, so I kind of have a baseline for next year. I know the year before I kept track of how much I spent. I didn't keep track of how much I used, and so this year I want to keep track of how much I'm spending for all of my yarn stuff. If I order needles, if I order yarn, if I order patterns, my subscriptions to any of the memberships that I'm in. I have been keeping track of that just to see how much I spent this year compared to how much I spent last year. And then I am keeping track of how many grams in and how many grams out. I did start the year with 74,000 grams in my stash. I just, when I counted it, if it was already in a skein, I counted all my skeins and I just counted anything that looked like this as 100 grams, except for my Surrey and my mohair. And then I looked at how many grams that the tag said and I counted it that way. I counted all my mini skeins as 5 or 10 grams, whatever the tag on those said, and then I counted and weighed all my scraps. I counted all my acrylic yarn, and I ended up with 74,000 grams, 74,000 and a little bit. So at this point, I started September with 80,101 grams in my stash at the beginning of September. And I brought in my Yarnable for this month. So Yarnable for September, my Yarnbrary for August, my Mama Jess for September, and my Yarnbrary for September. So I got 4 of my club yarns. So that was 460 grams in. Everything but the Yarnable comes with 120 grams. And then I knit out 3 blanket squares on my Cozy Memories blanket. I knit my Mama cardigan. I knit my Sea Glass cardigan, and I finished my daily pullover on September 30th. So I got to count that as a September finish, 4 grams out, and I had 1,398 grams out. So that put me at a negative 938 grams for September. Second month in a row that I have been negative grams. So I've had more grams out than in. And I am finishing up September with 79,163 grams in my stash. So my over 80,000 is going down. I do have some yarn advents coming in sometime within the next 3 months that I will be adding to my stash. I have the 4 Sundays from Mama Jess. I checked and she does not have those up for pre-order. She is sold out. I did get the Blackbird Sycamore. I think she still has hers available. I did get the Woolens and Nosh sock set with the 24 stripes. And I will show those to you throughout the month of December. And then I am doing a Scrappy swap with someone from Instagram, and so we will do our swap, and then I will count that as grams in also. Grams out and grams in, because I weighed all of that when it came in, and I will weigh all of it when it goes out. So I think I'm doing okay. Closer to the end of the year. It is easier not to buy yarn when you're not buying yarn. It is a little bit harder to be like, oh, I don't need any yarn once you've been buying yarn for a while. So I think that is everything I wanted to talk to you guys about this week. Remember to go over to the Ravelry Make-a-long and enter your Scrappy projects for Q4. And if you were one of the winners, please contact me either on Ravelry or through my Gmail linked in the description box below. And I will get those prizes out to you. I think that's everything. And so remember to leave a comment, like if you haven't already, subscribe if you're not subscribed to this channel. It helps get this channel out to others who may enjoy this content. And if you've made it this far, leave me an emoji, your favorite fall leaf emoji, and I will see you next week. Until then, happy knitting!